Oh, you guys. So, have you ever gone weekend away, anything like that, and you come back and you've gone so off the rails that you're constipated, or you wake up one day and you think, this isn't quite right, something's wrong, I need to figure out what's happening? Well, today, what we're going to talk about, trying to make sure that you guys are actually there. There we go. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is constipation, but specifically constipation during winter time, because, well, constipation can happen any time of the year. You guys could be perfectly healthy, go away for the holidays, go away for a weekend like we did this weekend, go completely off the rails, and wake up and all of a sudden you're constipated, but it's continuous. It's something that is either chronic and every season or every winter you deal with this, or all of a sudden it's now going on 1, 2 weeks, holidays are over, you thought you'd recovered, but not so much. You're still dealing with constipation. Now it's starting to affect your energy significantly. So it's affecting your sleep. It's affecting how you feel during the day. What happens at that point? What do you do? Do you go and take medicine forever? Is there something that you're eating that's causing it? Is there something that you could be eating that could relieve it? Tons of questions, right? And then you're sitting there and you're like, I don't even know what to look up because now you're so overwhelmed with questions that it's too much. We're going to talk about it today, and we're specifically going to talk about constipation during wintertime because this is something that is actually fairly common and it can happen no matter how healthy you are. We talk on this channel about cravings, we talk about seasons and how to eat within your seasons, right? Because each season triggers various feelings within our body energetically. If it's cold out, if it's damp out, like in winter, we crave those comfy foods. We crave the hot, the warm, the coffee overdose, which, yes, happens. I have to really monitor my coffee intake when it is cold out because I could seriously drink a hot cup of coffee all day long. Obviously, not healthy. That is not going to lead to anything except pain, discomfort, and just feeling like crap, right? So let's start just by what you're going to get out of this is that at the end, you're going to figure out not only how to get rid of the constipation you're feeling right now, but how to prevent it next year and the year after and the year after. Because when it gets cold out, it is really important for a healthy lifestyle and healthy practices to understand that the things that you were doing in the summer, the things you're mindful of in the summer, are not necessarily the same things you're mindful of in the winter. They sound similar, a little bit different. This is still practices where you just innately understand over time and over practicing, you innately understand that, okay, it's cold out, it's wet out. This is what's going to happen. It is human nature. I am no different because I am a human being. So here's what I need to do to make sure I stay healthy. Seems fairly simple, right? It takes practice. Like anything, it takes practice. So let's get into it. First of all, I wanted to talk about what causes the constipation. Mm, freshly made cup. And hence, this nice hot cup of coffee when it is cold out, or a nice hot cup of tea when it is cold out. If you drink too much, and we're talking teas, we're not talking herbal tisanes, they are different. Teas, we're talking about white leaf, black leaf. Even green tea is dehydrating, you guys. These substances, while they are stimulating, they warm our insides from the inside out, they warm our bodies. Um, it's a temporary fix, which is why you have to keep drinking them. But B, they dehydrate you. They're actually dehydrating substances, especially when you overload on them. So, truth be told, one of these cups, this is 20 ounces, or no, 16 ounces. So, a cup and a half. is the total amount of coffee or hot tea you should have in a day. 24 ounces total. 200 milligrams is actually recommended in caffeine, and that's usually about an 8 to 10 ounce cup of regular coffee or espresso. You can have 2 shots because each espresso shot has 60 milligrams of caffeine. It may not feel like a lot, but let me tell you, drinking an espresso and feeling like you're getting 2 cups of coffee versus just 1 when you have to really significantly limit your coffee or tea intake feels like so much. It feels like heaven. Anyway, tangent. All right, so the causes of constipation, specifically in the wintertime, dehydration. That is a big one, you guys, and it is specifically very big because, as I keep saying, cold, dank, you want to bring warmth to your body. Your brain is going, what is warm and hot? It can warm me up. Quick. Hot cocoa, coffee, tea, whatever it is that you normally would drink. These 3 substances are very dehydrating. Hot cocoa is actually harmful to your health when you drink too much, or if you don't use the right cocoa. That's the difference, which we'll talk about that in a second. So you need to make sure that you're drinking enough water. Well, how do you do that when it's cold out and you don't want room temp water and you don't want cold water? You can drink herbal tisanes. I mean, we're talking peppermint tea, chamomile tea, lemon balm, any of the herbal teas. Just not black, white. There, I don't think there's red tea leaves out. There are red tea leaves, but that's a raspberry tea leaf blend. Any of the actual tea leaves. Herbs themselves, when heated and prepared in tea-like form, are called tisanes, not tea. So you might go to Starbucks and order a peppermint tea. However, technically, it is called a tisane. They may not recognize that as such. So when you go out and you order, you're going to order a tea, but you're going to stick with herbal leaves. You're not going to order a green tea, a black tea, or a white tea, unless it's your 1 or 2 that you're having for the day. It will heat up your body. You will be hydrated. With the herbal tisanes, you could pretty much have however many you want. And this is 2 cups. So that would mean 4 cups, 4 of these. Okay, typical normal coffee mug. 4 of these in a day is what you're looking at, because you're looking at 8 glasses of 8 ounces. Minimum. So if you need hot beverages throughout the day to feel like you're keeping yourself warm, go with an herbal tisane. You can now get berry. You could get your own tea leaves. You can dehydrate fruit or use fresh fruit. Heat your water just like you normally would for tea. Put the fruit in the tea, or put the fruit into your hot water. Let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. You can let it sit for longer, but especially with tea bags, 3 to 5 minutes is ideal. And in some cases, 3 minutes. I have it's called cherry blossom tea from Harry and Sons. Oh my gosh, it is delicious. It's delicious. I did not realize how delicious it was until I went to my sister's house. And yeah, so you're only supposed to steep it for 3 minutes. I totally went off the rails and did not steep it for 3 minutes. I steeped it longer so that it had more flavor in an iced tea. When I poured it over iced tea, it was bitter. I can't even say bitter. It was like almost sour and tasted like I was drinking leaves, like grass leaves. Go to my sister's house because I had gotten her some too, because I mean, the reviews were off the chart. So I was like, hey, this should be really, really good. She read the directions. And do you know, 3 minutes and over ice was perfect. It was absolutely delicious. And there are 0 tea leaves inside the cherry blossom tea from Harry and Sons. 0. So you could definitely have that. You could have it hot. It tasted pretty good hot, but we had it during the summer, so over ice. You could have 3 or 4 of those in a day and avoid the dehydration. So just make sure you're being mindful of hydration, because that really is a key factor. It leads to everything else. Okay, it's a contributor to everything else we're going to talk about. So there are 4 things that contribute to constipation. Obviously more than that, but these are the top 4. Okay, the dehydration is one of them. Overeating. When you're cold, you're trying to get warm, it's dank and icky out, or it's, snowing out, whatever, you're not really craving salads, right? You're craving comfy foods. One of the things I'm going out and doing today is I'm going to go get stuff to make chicken soup, and you guys will see that video next week. I'm going to put it out next week. I make my chicken soup, my chicken noodle soup a little differently, especially when I've run out of chicken stock in my freezer. So I'm going to record it and I will post it up next week as a recipe video. I have a fun one for you this week that is absolutely delicious. You're going to get an oatmeal muffin we're going to use blueberries and apple cinnamon this week, but my oat muffin recipe, you can put whatever fruits, well, vegetables too, but fruits and vegetables in it that you want. So we're going to go over that. You'll see that video later. But the reason I bring that up is because chicken soup and soups in general are very comfy foods. They're also a way that you can get all of your micronutrients in, get that warming feeling from the inside out with your food. You can have it either chunky or you can have it in a pureed form. You're getting all of the micronutrients that you need. You're getting that warm, comfy feeling that your body is craving without going for the processed foods or for the sweets or the salty treats, which a lot of times your brain, when it's cold, it's going to go for the comfy foods, the things in the back of your head that you grow up eating, or the things that you associate with comfort. And I get it. Food shouldn't be associated with emotions. We fight this all the time. But guess what? It is. Does not mean that you allow your brain to go haywire and not be mindful of it during a time like now when you can actually do something about it. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. Things happen. I go off the rails sometimes too, just because I'm just done. And you go off the rails and then you come back. It's the way of the world. It's the way of human nature. So when you're mindful of it, using things like soups and stews, an excellent way to get those hot, comfy feelings from your food while also nourishing yourself for, well, I don't know why that was such a struggle to get out. My tongue's not, my brain is moving faster than my mouth, or my mouth is moving faster than my brain. I don't know, one or the other. Anyway, now with all of these, the dehydration, the wanting and craving comfy foods that lead us to eating more processed ingredients, it leads us to decreased activity. Now, decreased activity is just kind of one of those things in the wintertime that happens because our body knows it's cold out, so it's slowing down, right? It's trying to move things, slowing, it's stagnating a little bit, cold, dank, damp, right? It decreases our activity naturally. So try and keep that activity up when it's cold out, when you're not craving anything but a warm blanket, a hot fire, and a comfy something in your hand. It's really difficult. So finding ways that you can improve your activity so it's enjoyable, it's something you look forward to, it's something your body craves in the wintertime versus I really want to sit on that couch. That is something that you actually need to kind of deep dive, figure out what it is that you enjoy. Do you like dancing? The boys and I have dance parties all the time, all the time. They're a little crazy. Sometimes they don't last long. Sometimes they're like a 5 minute, if I'm lucky, thing, because 2.5, I mean, your attention span's always so long. Other times they can last an hour and a half. It just depends. And for you, it might be a little bit different. If walking is your thing, if you love walking, find indoor areas to walk. And I'm not just talking about malls. Like, let's say you go to a museum. You could go to a museum. You could, there's actually YouTube videos where what the people are teaching you and what the trainers are showing you and instructing you in is walking in place, walking in your living room for exercise. It's actually pretty unique and interesting. If you try this and you have a floor like ours, we have hard tile over a concrete foundation. You do want to wear your tennis shoes or your supportive shoes. Protect your lower back, protect your knees, protect your ankles. All right. Otherwise, you're going to be in a world of hurt. But the kids are home. Drew took off his pants, but diaper's still on. We're good. Diaper's still on. So anyway, so that's something that you can do. Find various ways. You could do some yoga, which is very slow moving, but it's a great strength training workout. It also helps us with number 4, which is stress. Stress management during the winter involves eating healthier. It involves movement. It involves some breathing exercises. And post-holiday, we're trying to recover from all that excitement, all that activity, all that energy bouncing around from all these celebrations. And then you hit, month 1, January, and you're trying to start resolutions if that's something that you do. And you're trying to stick with healthier habits, all of those good things, and just the stress upon stress upon stress. You don't need it. So let's go over those causes again. There are 4 of them. There's dehydration, there's overeating, and there's decreased activity and stress management. Okay, stress just runs out of control sometimes. What can you do about it? There's a few things. Now, last week we talked about raw versus cooked vegetables. This is where that comes into play significantly. It is easier to digest cooked foods. You're already through the heating process, you're starting to break down those foods. So your body doesn't have to work as hard. When you are constipated, it is important that your body's not working even harder. You want to take some of that load away from your digestive system. You want to make it easier. And by eating foods, specifically high fibers foods that have already been cooked, even just slightly, you're giving your stomach a helping hand. You're saying, here is my help. I'm going to shoulder this part of the responsibility. Let's get you what you need so that we can start things moving. Pun intended. Are there specific foods that you can eat? Absolutely. Now, we already have talked about where constipation, you want to make sure you're hydrated. You want to make sure you're eating enough micronutrients, right? High fibers foods are tremendously helpful when you're dealing with constipation. I get it. I know you're saying, but now you're adding bulk to bulk, right? Because constipation is bulk that hasn't moved. There's a few things that you can do to help it move, but let's go over these first 5, okay? Because these will get you moving. And ongoing, if you know that winter constipation is a thing, it might be helpful just to keep these on hand, just in case, because it's going to take a couple of winters before you perfect this. It might take longer than that. This is a process. This is a practice, and winter only comes once a year. So when we hit winter next year, you could be constipated, but at least by then you will know exactly what to do. So here are your 5 foods to get things moving. All right. And these are the top 5. There are a lot more. So if you know of others that have specifically helped you, put them in the comments so that other people will be helped, because majority of the US and actually the world deals with constipation during this part of winter. We are in the second half of winter. This is typically the part of winter that is harshest to our bodies. So this is the time frame when we need this information. All right, so here's your 5 foods: oatmeal, chia seeds, prunes, beans, and raspberries. Why raspberries? Why didn't I just say berries? Raspberries have 8 milligrams of fiber in a raspberry. So, that is 2 times as much as what is found inside strawberries, and more than that, over 2 times what's found in blueberries, acai berries, blackberries, which blackberries are pretty high as well, but raspberries specifically have a constipation relieving benefit on our stomachs. If you have diarrhea, you want to avoid raspberries for the same reason you would avoid prunes. So when you look at these foods, put prunes and raspberries in the same category. They are the superfoods when it comes to relieving constipation. All right. So let's go over those 5 foods to help you relieve constipation again. All right. We have oatmeal, high fibrous, protein, grains, micronutrients, easily digested. Chia seeds, same thing. Prunes, do we really need to talk about prunes? Beans, all legumes, fiber, fat, protein, micros, all rolled into one superfood. And raspberries. And remember, your raspberries and your prunes are your superfoods when it comes to constipation. So if you're extremely constipated and you need relief right this minute, go get some prunes, prune juice, go get some raspberries, make a smoothie between the prunes and the raspberries, stay close to the toilet, and enjoy it. Because actually, prunes are not bad. We have this mental block. A lot of people have this mental block when it comes to prunes. They think, well, you have prunes and you poop, and like now you have diarrhea instead of constipation, so it throws you into the other half, right? You go from one end of the scale to the other, and it throws your scale off. It doesn't have to work like that. You could have a prune a day. They're pretty big monsters. And prunes come from plums. Plums are very sweet. They're very sweet. So prunes are actually very tasty once you get over that mental image of what their side effects are when you overdo it. So go make a smoothie between the raspberries and the prunes. Add some chia seeds and some oatmeal in there. Put a little bit of almond milk or oat milk, cashew milk, anything except dairy. Dairy will constipate you. Morgan, my little Westie, the love of my life, my little Morgy Moo, had a lot of stomach issues. You fed him the wrong thing. That poor guy had diarrhea for days, and he was so sick. And the only thing that would help with the diarrhea was something dairy. So if you're constipated, avoid dairy if you aren't already. All right. Nuts don't seem to have that effect. Peanuts, yes, to some extent, but the rest of them, not really. So you could still eat those. They are a great food to get some micronutrients and some protein in without the hard to digest animal proteins. If you're constipated, avoid red meat. Avoid it, y'all. All right, so 5 tips to prevent them or to prevent constipation moving forward. This is specifically the part where we are talking about next year and the year after. These are practices. I want you to write them down in your journal, put them somewhere in your calendar as like a January 15th reminder in 2024. Hey, don't forget to make sure to pay attention to these things, these 5 things. So next year, January 15th, 2024, here's what I want to remind you of so you avoid the constipation in winter. All right. We have to have a fun name for that. I don't know. So here's the 5 tips. Ready? You're going to stay well hydrated. Use the herbal to stands if you need heated water. And, if that's not your thing, heat some water and throw some fruit in it. Throw some herbs in it. As long as it's not tea leaves, you're good to go. It's not dehydrating if it's not tea leaves. So stay well hydrated. Increase your fiber and increase your micronutrient consumption. Usually this comes combined because you're going to eat more vegetables and more fruits, right? Increase the fiber, increase your micronutrients, and break it down a little bit. Easily digestible foods, that's number 3. Cook it, even just slightly. Cook your food. First of all, the heat combats the cold of the winter. It provides your body heat from within, and it helps start break down foods. So when you're trying to fight constipation, your stomach doesn't have to work as hard. Number 4, move every day. Do something. I don't care if you're sitting on the couch doing flailing exercises. You can totally do that. I don't care. Just move. Move. Make sure you're doing exercises of some sort. And finally, number 5, you need stress management during this time. It is crucial because when you stagnate your digestive system, you're stagnating other systems as well. One system leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. Get those breathing exercises in, get the by Felicia going, get your journal going. I don't care. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, go for a walk, breathe in the oxygen, anything that is going to allow you to relieve your stress and to manage it is extremely helpful, especially during this time. One other thing you can do is ashwagandha and rhodiola specifically work to help manage your stress. Ashwagandha works more toward sleep and getting quality sleep. So if you take ashwagandha and you get sleepy, take it at night. Rhodiola gives you energy. It's a stimulant. So if you want that in the morning, don't take that before bed. You will hate yourself if you take it before bed. I completely forgot the other day what time it was, and I was thinking it was much earlier. And anything I do after 3 o'clock, if I take any stimulants, an herbal stimulant, or if I drink coffee, tea, anything with caffeine after 3 o'clock, I am screwed. I'm not sleeping that night. And I screwed up about a week and a half ago. And I had forgotten to take my vitamins, my multi, and my collagen and all that. And you guys know I suck at that anyway. Um, I do it, but I'm not very good at it. So it was a day I had forgotten. And I went and I just took them because I'm like, I need to take them. I'm thinking about it. I need to take them because ADHD will set in. I will see something on the counter that has to go somewhere else, and boom, 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 thought's gone. And now I've forgotten for the whole day. I bet you can't relate, right? And effectively, I ended up looking at the clock about 20 minutes later, and it was like 4:50. And I mean, the boys were at home, so it wasn't like I had to go get them from school, so it wasn't a timeline. But it was 4:50. That means I took them at about 4:30 and didn't sleep. Didn't sleep for obvious reasons. So just make sure if you are going to go the herbal route to help you with your stress management, you're taking rhodiola and ashwagandha. Take rhodiola in the morning, take ashwagandha in the evening. If taking them both at the same time in the morning makes you sleepy, there's no timeline with that. All right, so let's wrap this all up and get moving so that you can go have a great day. If you're constipated, make sure to enjoy those 5 foods. Remember prunes, raspberries, superfoods. If you're dealing with it, go get some. Pick up that water, move, 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 stress management, and boom, you will be good to go. All right, so we talked about raw and cooked vegetables last week. This week, I talked about constipation and how those raw cooked vegetables have an even greater effect on our body and even greater benefit with helping us relieve constipation, right? So next week, we're going to continue our talks about winter, and we're going to talk about chronic inflammation. Gut health is crucial to our bodies, right? And chronic inflammation is a result of an unhealthy gut. Well, in the wintertime, we're dealing with a lot more than just constipation. And some of you might be listening to this and have gotten to this point and you're like, okay, well, constipation isn't really my issue. So next week, we're going to go over a lot of the other issues that we deal with, a lot of the other symptoms, all of which are wrapped up and related and basically lead to chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is a result of an unhealthy gut. We're going to talk about making your gut healthy, getting it healthy, restoring it, rejuvenating it, getting it back to balance so that you relieve and, in many cases, get rid of chronic inflammation and how to do so when it's wintertime. All right. I will chat with you guys next week. Stay healthy, get your water in, get your movement in, and get those cooked veggies in. Let's get things moving, y'all. Sound good? All right. Bye.